Hi, First Pres, Arlington family and friends. I'm Marla Shideler. My husband Brett and I serve with Wycliffe Bible Translators. FPCA has partnered with us in ministry since 2000. 2 years ago, Brett and I moved from Texas to Washington State, where we continue to provide member care services to Wycliffe members around the world as we work together to make God's Word accessible to people of every tribe and tongue and nation. Today, I want to share with you another moment for hope that God gave me recently. And just like I shared previously, this one too is from my garden because I really enjoy gardening. As I spend time tending and pruning my plants, pulling weeds, fertilizing and feeding, and now thankfully harvesting, I find myself praying to the God who causes everything to grow. I'm filming today from our greenhouse. This is the first year I've ever had a greenhouse. We just completed it about 4 months ago. It was great to give the tomatoes, peppers, and other vegetables and herbs a head start before planting them outside. In the greenhouse, I can carefully control several variables that may affect the health of the plants as they grow. It doesn't get as cold at night here in the greenhouse, so the plants are protected from our colder evening temperatures. The wind doesn't blow in the greenhouse, so the plants aren't grown around quite so much. I've babied these plants, and I have carefully nurtured them. But I quickly learned the importance of hardening off young seedlings before I planted them outside. The hardening off process involves taking them out of this protected environment for ever increasing lengths of time so they can gradually adjust to being outside. They become accustomed to the temperature difference as well as to the breeze that's nearly always gently blowing. This process strengthens the stem of the plant so it can handle cooler temperatures and the stronger winds when they come. Once the plant is ready and has been properly hardened off, I transplanted it to the garden where it's fertilized, staked, watered, and tended with the hope of it actually producing a crop. This whole process of growing plants in a greenhouse has many correlations to life. Today, I want to talk about several of them. First, it got me reflecting on our church and the nurture that we can provide to the friends and members of our church family. I see that COVID-19 has affected your lives there in Texas just as it has for us here in Washington. Our local church family has had to exercise creativity and determination to continue meeting together. We attended church via live stream for several months. We've now met twice for in-person worship out in the field on one side of the church property, all spread out so we can practice social distancing while we all wear our face masks. Our women's group finished Bible study this spring via Zoom video conference calling, and we've kept in touch with friends via phone and text. We've had to be creative and determined to stay in fellowship. In a way, we've all been forced back into the greenhouse, but it's important to remember that even back in the greenhouse, growth can occur. It's a different environment, but with the right kind of nurture, we can bloom and produce fruit. Next, just as plants in the greenhouse need continued nurture, we must still be faithful in nurturing spiritual discipline during this time of COVID-19. We nurture our faith through spending time in the Word and being faithful in prayer and in our personal devotions. We are creative in how we meet to worship because, as Hebrews 10:24 and 25 tell us, we consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as we see the day approaching. One last thought from my greenhouse. I've pondered also how I always want to shy away from my own hardening off process. If I were a plant, I'd want to stay in the greenhouse, where it's safe and secure, where the wind doesn't buffet my leaves, where it's cozy and a bit more predictable. but that's not where He designed me to remain. I'm encouraged by God's reply to the Apostle Paul's pleading to remove the thorn in his flesh, when in 2 Corinthians 12:9 the Lord tells Paul, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Although I may have come out from my own greenhouse, I know my stem is still weak. I know I need to be staked to something solid, with my feet planted in good soil and on a firm and solid foundation. I need both water and fertilizer to achieve healthy growth, because I can't grow on my own. If I'm going to produce any fruit at all, I need daily feeding from the one who loves me and carefully nurtures me. I pray you are being fertilized regularly through the Word, that you are staked firmly to Jesus, that the living water of Jesus is drenching your roots, that you're finding encouragement in your relationships with other believers, that you are bearing fruit, and that His power is being evidenced in whatever weakness you are experiencing. And that's a moment of hope from my garden. Blessings.